Return to the Monsters, Inc. universe in the Disney Plus brand new series, Monsters at Work. It's laughter thereafter as we meet a brand new cast of monsters voiced by incredible stars such as Mindy Kaling, Henry Winkler, and of course, Ben Feldman as Tyler, a recently graduated scarer who quickly learns the only thing horrifying at Monsters, Inc. is how hilarious it is to be part of the team. Billy Crystal and John Goodman are back in their beloved roles as Mike and Sully. Monsters at Work. Original series now streaming, only on Disney Plus.
Hey listeners, Wondery has a new podcast called The Vaping Fix. If you or anyone you know has ever used an e-cigarette, you're going to want to hear this.
The story starts in 2018 with college sophomore Gianluca Barrecchia. He was studying in his dorm room when suddenly he struggled to breathe. His lungs felt like they were on fire, and with his last few breaths, he asked his roommate to call 911.
As he was rushed to the hospital and ER doctors tried to help him, they demanded he tell them what drugs he was using. In a daze, Gianluca promised he didn't use any drugs, just a Juul pen. But he didn't realize inside that Juul was an addictive drug.
The Vaping Fix, hosted by Laura Beale, and the team behind Dr. Death and Bad Batch, is the shocking story of how the e-cigarette company Juul set out to help lifetime smokers quit, but instead managed to hook a new generation of young people.
We're about to play you a preview of The Vaping Fix. While you're listening, follow The Vaping Fix on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, or you can also listen early and ad-free by starting your free trial of Wondery Plus in the Wondery app.
It was a rainy day in Orangeburg, New York in 2018. Gianluca Barrecchia was hanging out in his college dorm room between classes. An Italian flag hung on the wall above his bed as a homage to his Italian family back in Connecticut.
North Haven is all Italians, so most of them are actually from the same area in Italy. So everyone always says when they see me around town, who am I not related to?
Gianluca was a sophomore nursing major. His courses and exams could be intense, but today he felt unusually tired.
And just not really myself. Like I didn't really have much energy in me to do anything that day. And it felt almost like I had a cold too.
There was a heaviness in his lungs.
It felt like almost like there was an elephant like sitting on my chest. And I was just trying to take like deep breaths, like extremely deep breaths to see if that would kind of clear it up.
It didn't work.
Maybe I just need a yawn and maybe that'll like help, or try coughing it out or something like that.
But none of it gave him relief. So he turned to the thing that had been his source of comfort, his electronic cigarette. Without thinking, he took a puff.
And then that's when I felt like I just couldn't breathe anymore. And it felt like my airway was just like closing almost. My lungs felt like they were on fire. And I was just like coughing.
His face began to turn bright red.
My roommate, I'll never forget, looked at me and he's like, "Oh my God, like what's wrong with you?" He got so scared. He actually called 911 because that's when I started to kind of go out of it because I couldn't stop coughing.
And then everything went black.
I just hear the ambulance like being jiggled around, going over all these bumps, and I hear the sirens blaring, and I hear the paramedic telling me like, "Oh, wake up, like wake up, wake up."
He was in the back of an ambulance.
There was the paramedic and then an EMT as well. And I had this big oxygen mask on me. I just was terrified, like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. When we got to the hospital, they rushed me right in, and I was surrounded by a doctor and a few other nurses. It was just like pure chaos in this room right now. And you hear like the oxygen just flowing like 100%.
The doctor began asking him questions.
Like if I did any drugs, he's like, "You just need to tell me what you took because God forbid you could die right now. And I don't know what is wrong because you need to be honest and truthful with me because someone your age, this doesn't just happen to just because."
Gianluca told him, "I haven't taken any drugs."
And then that's when the question came up about vaping. I was like, "Well, I do vape." And he's like, "What do you use?" And I was like, "It's called a Juul."
And he wasn't the only one.
A warning for parents tonight. Do you know if your child is juuling at school?
Across the country, high school students have become hooked on a device straight out of Silicon Valley.
Another big story tonight, a disturbing study out about teens and vaping, and it shows a significant jump, nearly doubling the number from last year in the number of kids that are actually using these nicotine devices.
It ended up becoming my oxygen. I couldn't live without it. I needed it all the time, every day.
It would set Gianluca and so many others on a path to the highest offices in the land.
I wrote an email saying, "Don't worry, girls. We're going to share this story in front of a congressional committee."
Another topic that has been top of mind is teen tobacco use, and it is up, and the CDC is blaming who else but Juul.
The White House is calling for a ban on nearly all flavored e-cigarettes. These are the flavors that have started this epidemic among young people.
And on a collision course with the men behind it.
My name is James Monsees. Adam Bowen and I founded Juul Labs.
We were going to take on big tobacco, who had been killing people and lying about it for 100 years.
I said to myself, this is going to be a big challenge for me to manage James through this, and there's no managing James.
I remember thinking, those smart mother effers, they probably did this on purpose.
We never wanted any non-nicotine user, and certainly nobody underage, to ever use Juul products.
I want to tell you, I've been involved with public health for a long time in the Bay Area. You, sir, are an example to me of the worst of the Bay Area.
I just remember my heart stopped, seeing them. And I just froze. And I was just staring at them when they came in, and I was just wow, that's the people right there that sent me down my spiral and not even caring about it.
Return to the Monsters, Inc. universe in the Disney Plus brand new series, Monsters at Work. It's laughter thereafter as we meet a brand new cast of monsters voiced by incredible stars such as Mindy Kaling, Henry Winkler, and of course, Ben Feldman as Tyler, a recently graduated scarer who quickly learns the only thing horrifying at Monsters, Inc. is how hilarious it is to be part of the team. Billy Crystal and John Goodman are back in their beloved roles as Mike and Sully. Monsters at Work, original series now streaming, only on Disney Plus. Return to the Monsters, Inc. universe in the Disney Plus brand new series, Monsters at Work. It's laughter thereafter as we meet a brand new cast of monsters voiced by incredible stars such as Mindy Kaling, Henry Winkler, and of course, Ben Feldman as Tyler, a recently graduated scarer who quickly learns the only thing horrifying at Monsters, Inc. is how hilarious it is to be part of the team. Billy Crystal and John Goodman are back in their beloved roles as Mike and Sully. Monsters at Work, original series now streaming, only on Disney Plus.